Vaibhav Khandelwal, co-founder and CTO of Shadowfax, joins me on the show, as does Dr. Ashutosh Raghuvanshi of Fortis Healthcare. Welcome to both of you. Vaibhav, why don't you start by giving me a sense of the scale of the vaccination drive and why it's very crucial to a business like yours, which is essentially a logistics delivery business. How important is it right now to have those who keep the wheels of the economy moving safely jabbed?
Thanks, Tamanna. I think it's vaccination is currently the topmost priority at Shadowfax. The delivery partners and the ground staff, they are powering people during these critical times. These folks have to visit 30, 40 different households on a daily basis. And in certain cases, they might have to actually deliver essentials to people infected with COVID as well. As a result of it, these guys are some of the true frontline workers who actually need the right support in order to get the vaccination there. To be honest, in the initial part of it, there was a bit of uncertainty in terms of the vaccine procurement. And maybe a large amount of our resources also went into procuring oxygen in order to help people around. But gradually the foundations and certain partnerships have come up at good pace. We have inoculated 20% of our workforce in the past 2 jabs centers that we had initiated in Bangalore and NCR. The important thing that we are finding it here is that there is a bit of reluctance among the delivery partners, but a good amount of knowledge activity and with the senior leadership also leading the way for them, it has made it a bit easier to adopt the right vaccinations for these delivery partners.
Dr. Raghuvanshi, give us a sense of how fast are corporates pushing the vaccination rollout. We know about the big players, the Reliances and the Infosys of the world who are vaccinating at scale and have a large number of employees. They're vaccinating them and their family members, etc. So those will go into large numbers. But what about smaller and medium-sized businesses? Are they tying up with hospital chains like yours to facilitate quick vaccination?
That's actually correct. And what we have seen is that there's a lot of enthusiasm and activism from almost all kinds of corporates, large and small. We have, as an organization, tied up with more than about 52 different companies, and these are of different sizes. It is very efficient when on-site camps are done, because that generally would take care of the needs of, saves time for the employees. However, there are certain challenges in like, for example, in the, in the industry which we were just talking about, where not everybody is at the same place. But having said that, I think that there has been a lot of proactive support from the industry in general, and there has been a high demand. In fact, sometimes we were finding it challenging to meet that demand simply because of the availability of vaccines and not having a very clear picture as to what kind of vaccine supply we may get. So that part, I think, as it is taken care of, the ability to inoculate can be definitely enhanced very quickly.
Some businesses, some kinds of companies will definitely have to have all of their partners inoculated faster. Ola, Uber cab drivers should ideally be inoculated at the earliest. Those who are delivering from Kirana stores should be inoculated at the earliest. Security personnel should be inoculated at the earliest. How will this really help, Vaibhav, in also for those who are not going out and doing these functions to get back into office? Do you see corporate India looking at a return to, at work or at office work with 2 jabs behind them, say in the next 6 to 8 months?
I think so. We also have been discussing internally about what the next step is once a vaccination drive is there. What our thought is that the corporate India would come back to office wherever possible, wherever they are comfortable. Having said that, it won't be a scenario pre-COVID. We would look out for a scenario wherein the corporate offices would be open or people would be coming 3 days in a week, for example. Now it varies for different businesses and different professions, but the kind of habit, the kind of solutioning, and the kind of comfort that people have been able to identify during this remote working, it is something which will continue. So people are now more confident of ordering food online, and they are able to save on the time that they would have lost in traffic. It has also opened up opportunities for people to work from remote cities or maybe from their hometown, thus also allowing the corporate India to actually hire people from the lesser known tier 1 or the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. What we feel is that this can be a very good advantage for the corporate India moving forward, wherein the resource pool can be equitably distributed across the country instead of few pockets in the current scenario. So our effort of ensuring that our delivery partners, our effort of ensuring that the right confidence is there among the end user would power a lot of different way of working in the corporate setup.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Raghuvanshi, my question to you is, should this be left to the private sector or to the corporate sector? Because it is also imperative for people to start trusting services that those who are in the service industry are vaccinated well. So even if you open up restaurants, it will really help if people working in those restaurants, the cooks, the waiters, etc., are all vaccinated. If you open up malls, you would want people who are working there to be vaccinated, and of course those who come in as well. Do you think there is a role for government also to step in here? Because quick vaccination of all of these areas will also ensure a reboot and revival of economic activity.
Absolutely. I think the government's role cannot be, overemphasized. They have a very, very important role, especially for smaller businesses, etc., where it may not be possible for those businesses to organize on-site camps or an additional way of doing it. But yes, private sector can play an important part, at least in case of large corporates, where the critical mass is there, and these camps or on-site vaccination centers can be created. You see, some of the challenges with logistics are there, and this is one of those vaccines which cannot be administered door to door. So the only way is to find aggregated groups or make it more accessible so that people can reach there easily. So whether it is private or government, people should be able to access that rather quickly and without interrupting their normal schedule. And if they are working, especially as you mentioned, the taxi drivers and others, they don't have loss of wages. So that kind of thing is very, very important. And I think that can be provided if there are large number of centers, inoculation centers, and which are working in during a kind of a larger time frame during a particular day. So that way, more and more people can be inoculated in those same centers.
Absolutely, and one can't emphasize enough, the harm that those who propagate fallacies about vaccination create. Vaccine hesitancy, unfortunately, is a reality in many parts of the country. Even though you might be seeing people around you who are in a rush to get the jab, that might not be the case across the board. And those who spread fear about and mistrust about vaccinations should be taken to task. Thank you so much, Vaibhav and Dr. Raghuvanshi, for joining us on the India Development Debate this evening. We'll end the show here, but we'll be back with all the latest news as well tell us the analysis of why that news is important tomorrow, same place, same time.